What's up, Parties and Hardos? Back at it. Second episode of the week. Here we go. We're ready. We're excited.
It's the aesthetic version of Hard-Headed Sports today.
Aesthetic, because of your little chair that you're sitting in, or what?
Yep. We're just in a little cozy corner over here today.
That's a YouTube exclusive, audio listeners. Make sure you check out the YouTube video to see the type of chair Spinny is sitting in today. It does look very comfy. I could probably.
It is comfy. I don't know. It'd kind of be hard, like with the head, but I think you could make it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Throw a pillow in there, then you could.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're gonna start episode 38 off here with some headlines. Two sad ones right away to start. Franco Harris passed away, died age 72. The cause of death is still not known, so it's going to be interesting to see what that was, because even the day he died, I saw that he was on a radio show a couple hours before his death, and
Really?
he's been on he's been on TV shows, within these last couple months here. So he seemed to be in like pretty good health. And 72 isn't like outrageously old by any means.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see why he passed away. But yeah, it's still
bad.
sad either way. Steelers legendary running back, for those who don't know who Franco Harris is, played in the 70s to the early 80s. Get these stats. This is very impressive. He played 13 years in the league, 9 Pro Bowls out of 13 years, and he won 4 Super Bowls in those 13 years as well, including 1 Super Bowl MVP. So very impressive for Franco Harris. He's 15th all time in rush yards, 11th in rush touchdowns, and he's obviously a Hall of Famer. So it's sad to see
the immaculate reception as well.
Exactly, immaculate reception. He's the one who caught that, and this week was actually the 50th anniversary of it. So I know the Steelers were planning some events and things to recognize that. So it's definitely bad timing in that regard. But I just wanted to shout that out. Shout out Franco Harris, legend.
Facts, yeah. R.I.P.
The other one, way younger. This one's even tougher. This man is technically age-wise could still even be in the league. Ronnie Hillman, former Broncos running back, passed away age 31 from a rare and aggressive form of kidney cancer. He passed away last night, actually late Wednesday night, and this was only a day after being put into hospice. He was put into hospice care on Tuesday and passed away last night. So that's very sad to see. And he was the leading rusher for the Broncos in that Super Bowl season. Some people might not really remember Ronnie Hillman, but he was a stud that season for sure. So rest in peace, Ronnie Hillman. It's tough to see people go this young.
Yeah, facts. That's such a hard thing. I can't imagine like going from pro athlete to like having a cancer like that. It just has to be tough. And now RIP to him, and hopefully his family is dealing with it as well as they can.
Absolutely. Now we're going to talk Carlos Correa. This little 13 years, $350 million with the Giants, right? Nope. Falls through because of a medical issue that the Giants found in his physical. Apparently, there was some a difference of opinion on this. He was technically cleared by doctors, but the Giants didn't like what they saw, so they were unable to get that done. And literally later that night, the Mets swooped in and grabbed him. 12 years, $315 million with the Mets, which I must say is $2 million less per year than what the Twins offered him, which obviously doesn't really matter because he wanted to play for a contender. I get it. To me, this just sucks. I mean, I hate seeing the big market teams like the Mets sign everybody. The Mets spent $800 million this offseason and are paying about $480 million a year. That is just ridiculous. And this is why I think there needs to be a salary cap in the MLB to try to give these smaller market teams some sort of chance. Now, the Twins, they don't get an excuse because we have money. Yeah. We are top 10. Our owners are top 10 in money. So the fact that we're not getting anybody, our best person we can get is freaking Joey Gallo and Christian Vasquez. The Twins are an excuse, but there should be a salary cap to help even things out for your teams like the Oakland A's or the Tampa Bay Rays that don't have any money. Like, how are those teams ever supposed to sign somebody?
And Minneapolis is a mid market as well. It's not a small market, really.
For sure.
It's obviously not in that top 8. either. And then you put that ownership money together, it's quite pathetic. And I made this point this morning as well on the Al Travis show, if you check that out. But I would just like to get somebody. Like, can we get our fifth option or our sixth option or anybody? Dansby Swanson, very happy would have been with that. But again, Chicago, way bigger market. I just wish we could pull off something better than the zero that we have ended up with this offseason. I just have no faith in any contending ability from the Twins this year.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna suck. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we haven't even signed a pitcher yet. Like, not even one pitcher. So I don't know how we expect to compete when we aren't even making improvements to the one thing we need the most. So that's very annoying to see. And yeah, I'm complete agreement with you, Spinny. Let's at least get somebody here. Like, oh my gosh, let's at least cash in and get Dansby Swanson. Like,
right. At least
are
spend
probably
a little bit of money.
yeah, like it's better than spending none and not competing. I mean, I even said this last episode. I tweeted and was like, "Wow, good to see the Twins cashing the season 100 days in advance," and that's literally it. I mean, we're apparently don't care about competing this year, and that always sucks to see. You have any other thoughts about Carlos Correa?
Nope.
He's now going to be a third baseman for the Mets. That was probably a good move for them. They definitely needed a third baseman really bad. So, and he's very good at defense. He will be able to make that switch pretty easily, I imagine.
I feel like it.
Now onto the Pro Bowl roster. The NFL Pro Bowl rosters were announced late last night. We have 6 teams that are sending at least 5 guys to Las Vegas this year. For those that don't know, it's flag football. Totally got rid of the regular game. They're going flag football this year. I do actually kind of like that idea because it's just a fun game anyways. And they weren't going hard and tackling each other anyways. So you might as well just have it be flag football. Like, why not? We have the Eagles lead the way with 8 Pro Bowlers, including 6 starters, which is crazy to think about. But you go 13-1, that's what you expect. Dallas Cowboys have 7. The Chiefs have 7. The Ravens have 6. The 49ers also have 6. And then your Minnesota Vikings have 5. Let's see. Trying to think of our Pro Bowlers off the top of my head. Okay, here's the list. Kirk Cousins made it. Jefferson made it, obviously. Hawkinson also made it, which is a little surprising, but given how slim the tight end position is, he definitely is deserving. We had Zadarius made it. I thought we had a special teamers make it. Oh, our long snapper. Yep.
Yeah.
Andrew DePaula was our 5th guy who made it, long snapper. So yeah, it was good to see those guys make it in. And now we're going to talk about some snubs though from this list. Spinny, who immediately stands out to you?
Okay, before we talk about snubs, I do want to talk about Jeremy Reeves for a second. If you haven't seen the video of Rivera telling him he made the Pro Bowl, it was pretty cool. And I just wanted to pull up quick his the amount of teams that he's been on. It's like unbelievable. Starting in 2018, waived, cut, or signed to the practice squad 3 times. 2019 Packers practice squad, 2020 Washington, and he is cut and signed back. Let's see. He was cut and signed back twice, and he was sent to the practice squad and back to the active roster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times during the season in 2021, in 20 and 21. And again in 22 at the end of the season there. So last season, that many times signed back and forth from the practice squad. So pretty crazy to go from that last year to Pro Bowler this year. Just a crazy story from him. Undrafted free agent, started with the Eagles and Washington, only 2 teams he's really been with, but on and off the practice squad a million times. So super cool for him. And if you haven't checked out that video, his reaction is pretty priceless.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I'm looking at his transaction list here. It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
Wow.
Literally.
2019, all with Washington until now. Like you said, waived, practice squad, active roster, back to the practice squad. It's nuts. I mean, It's crazy. Also, another note with that is his mom. His mom, he said, was his biggest
Yeah.
fan, always supporting him and things along those lines. And she passed away last year in November, so that definitely really affected him. And he mentioned that. Well, Ron mentioned that when he was letting him know that he made the Pro Bowl. He made sure to let him know that his mom would be proud of him too. So yeah, that was a great video. I definitely recommend watching that.
Yeah,
Now,
and back
Spinny.
to now to the snubs. First snub, biggest snub by far is Christian McCaffrey.
Yes,
Third,
sir.
third in the league in all-purpose yards among running backs, and first in the NFC. Most all-purpose yards in the NFC. And he is not on the Pro Bowl list. Also, I
Do
don't
you
have.
can I ask you a quick question on McCaffrey? Do
Yep.
you think any of that has to play in to the fact that he started the season on the AFC or no?
But he didn't. He went NFC to
No,
NFC.
NFC, yeah. I don't know why I said AFC. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So I
that makes
mean,
it make even less sense.
yeah. So the trade could have been like worth it, but or not the trade. Jeez, what am I? Whew. The decision to leave him off could have made sense if that was the case. If he was switching conferences,
Right.
that I
Right.
totally understand. But when it's all in the NFC, he leads in all-purpose yards, and he's near the top in touchdowns as well. He has
He has 10 total touchdowns.
10 total touchdowns as well. So, absolute travesty to me that he got left off the list. If I had to take somebody off, it'd probably be, I don't know, that's tough between Pollard and Sanders, but I think McCaffrey has had better seasons than both of those guys. So one of those two guys has to go for sure because you got to keep Saquon on there.
Yeah, I agree. Saquon, you got to give Saquon the nod. Uh, I would personally probably put him in for trying to find his receiving stats here. I would probably put him in for Sanders. I think I'd give a slight nod to Pollard. He's averaging 5.5 yards per carry, almost 1,000 rushing yards to go along with 300 receiving yards and 12 total touchdowns. So I do think Pollard, especially, that's also splitting carries too. He split carries more with Zeke than Sanders does in Philadelphia. So I'm giving the nod to Tony. But yeah, that was surprising to me too that CMC made it or didn't make it, but Sanders did. Now that obviously has to do with the Eagles being 13-1, right?
Yeah, definitely. But Niners are 10-4. It's been obvious and immediate the impact that Christian McCaffrey has had, especially with
Yes.
Mitchell going down. And even before Mitchell, they were using them together, and it was just like it's crazy what this man could do. And it's cool to see his development into an actual physical runner. The man's running between the tackles, running the same as all those top running backs. So that's been a kind of a cool addition, I feel like, for him, just the physicality that he's brought more this year.
I like that point. Two other NFC guys stand out to me, and they're both receivers, both of which I think are having better seasons than Terry McLaurin, who did make the Pro Bowl, and that is Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is top 10 in these key stats in the NFL. He is sixth in catches at 89. He is 10th in yards at 974, and he's seventh in yards per touch at 11 yards per touch. So yeah, Amon-Ra has really been killing it this year. He's exceeded his numbers from last year in every category. So that was a little shocking to me to see McLaurin above him when McLaurin literally has less. He has more yards than Amon-Ra. Terry has over 1,000 yards, but he has less catches and less touchdowns. And then another guy would be Tyler Lockett. Same situation. He has less. McLaurin has less catches and touchdowns than Lockett. Little more yards. Lockett has 78 catches, 964 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Amazing. I mean, this has probably been his best year of his career, and that's crazy to say for a 30-year-old wide receiver. So Lockett's had a tremendous year. And either way, I'm not saying Terry McLaurin's not deserving, but that was some snubs that stood out to me as well.
Yeah, I got that. I think Amon-Ra for sure. Definitely needed to be on that list. Who do you think? How many receiving yards do you think Garrett Wilson has right now?
Garrett Wilson has 900 some receiving yards.
Yeah,
He has
966. When I was
Yeah.
looking at that list, I was just like, Garrett Wilson's going to have like 1,200 yards receiving as a rookie. That's crazy.
He's a
I
star.
like and without even like have you I
With
just
three
felt
different
like
quarterbacks.
the hype hasn't been there with Garrett Wilson that
Yeah,
much.
no one's really
So
talking about him. And well, I think a lot of that has to do with the first 8 games of the season. He was overshadowed by his own teammate in Brees Hall. So
true.
I think a lot of that has to do with it. And then also the fact that he's had 3 quarterbacks this year. So that's definitely a big part of it as well.
Yeah, but tied for 11th in the league in receiving yards right now as a rookie. It's pretty crazy.
I do want to shout out some other guys. I don't know if you have any more snubs. These next 3, though, I don't necessarily think should have made it, but they've had Pro Bowl seasons, statistically at least. So I just want to shout them out. That's Austin Eckler, 1,300 total yards and tied for the most touchdowns in the league at 14. So it's kind of shocking not to see him in there. But the 3 AFC running backs that are in, Jacobs, Chubb, and Henry, I mean, who are you going to kick out then? So
Literally.
Dalvin Cook, our own guy, he's the only running back with over 1,000 yards in the NFL that wasn't selected to the Pro Bowl, and he has 10 touchdowns as well. So obviously, great numbers for Cook. And then Ramondre Stevenson, another stud AFC running back, but again, can't kick out any of those other guys. 1,300 total yards, 6 touchdowns, 60 catches for Ramondre this year, and 5 yards per carry. So those are some numbers that stood out to me.
Yeah,
Do you have?
I mean, Barkley, CMC, and Cook are the 3 best running backs in my book.
Right. And then NFC, you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And AFC 3 best running backs, they probably got them.
They got
Chubb,
him.
Jacobs, Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's where it's at right now. Which is funny to say coming from Josh Jacobs, who I never thought was going to be above a mid-running back.
By far is better.
Shows the running game creation ability of Josh McDaniels. I got to give him credit for that, even though the Raiders have kind of been a very up and down little dumpster fire. They've got better as of late, and the rush game has looked very good.
Do you have any other snubs? Otherwise, very quickly, I'm going to shout out a couple other dudes that I noticed.
Nope.
Tua would be one. Again, you can't kick out any of those quarterbacks. They have Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow. So you're not going to kick out any of those guys. But Tua having a great year, 3,200 yards, 24 TDs, and only 5 interceptions. And the Dolphins are 0-3 without him in the games that he missed. 0-3. So they're 8-3 with him. Moving to the defensive end, we have Alex Highsmith, edge for the Steelers. He has 11 sacks this year in the league, leading 5 forced fumbles. And 2 other defensive players, both on the Eagles. You know, you're like,
wow.
Exactly. You're like, how could the Eagles even have snubs if they have 8 guys making the Pro Bowl? But this is how. James Bradbury, corner. He is second. Very, very good ball hawk this year. Absolutely guarding the crap out of people. Second in pass deflections, and he leads the NFL with a 42.8 passer rating when thrown to. So that is very good. Absolutely shutting people down. And Javon Hargrave, one of their better pass rushers, has 10 sacks this year and didn't make it. So those would be the other snubs that kind of stood out to me. Again, like we said, with other guys, some of them don't necessarily, quote unquote, deserve to be in given who was placed ahead of them, but statistically having great seasons nonetheless.
Yeah. Last snub for me is Harry, actually. 77 tackles, 5 interceptions, second among safeties and interceptions.
Who made the same? Who was in over him?
The first person was Buddha, which is probably legitimate. Buddha's been having a great season as well. Stats-wise, though, he is not on the level of Harrison at all. And then the other one is the safety for the Niners. Hufanga, I'm pretty sure is how you say his last name. Those both two strong safeties made it. And Harry has statistically had better seasons than both of those guys. Obviously, Hufanga's close and he's on a much better defense, so that's understandable. But Buddha is I'm not even I'm looking at the list right now trying to find his stats. Here it is. He has 69 let's look here. Total tackles. He does have 102 total tackles. So that's a huge thing for Buddha. But he only has 2 interceptions to Harry's 5. So I get where they came from on that with the tackling aspect. He's played more like a linebacker in Arizona for them this year, given how bad. But they are on a bad defense as well, and I just think when you put the statistical comparisons together, Harry has the slight edge. Not to mention, Harry was number 1 in the fan voting section as well.
So really? That I did not know.
Among safeties, right? In that group,
right.
he had more fan votes than them, but the coaches and what's the other executives? Is that what it is?
I think so.
That portion of it was low for him, obviously.
Interesting. Yeah, he definitely has had a Pro Bowl season, no doubt. Before we switch gears here, and we're actually going to talk a little college basketball, because we haven't talked any yet so far. Spinny, you mentioned before the season how the Chiefs O-line was going to be looking pretty good, and they had 3 linemen selected to the Pro Bowl this year. So Mahomes, that's dangerous. You give Mahomes that time, that's going to be dangerous.
You give Mahomes that time, Tyreek Hill, Schmyreek Hill. Honestly,
literally,
anyone can get open when you give him 5 seconds. Huge shot. I didn't mean that as making fun of Tyreek Hill, though. He's obviously.
Right. He's
had
still
an unbelievable season, and Tua wouldn't be anywhere near the consideration he is without Tyreek.
Major facts. Now on to college basketball. Your top 10, as it is right now. So this will change a little bit because we did have a top 10 team lose this week. Purdue 1, UConn 2, Houston 3, Kansas 4, Arizona 5, Virginia 6. That is the team that lost this week. Texas 7, Tennessee 8, Bama 9, 10, Arkansas. Spinny, what really stands out to you? I guess the one thing to me would be 3 SEC schools in the top 10, and none of them are Kentucky.
I know. Crazy.
That's one thing that definitely stands out to me.
Yeah. What else stands out to me from the top 10? I mean, Houston being so high, obviously I wanted to talk about them on my list of surprises. Is I knew that going into the season they had a chance to be good, but not necessarily this good. 11-1, ton of good players on their offense. Sasser is obviously the main guy, right, that we're thinking about, but they also have 3 guys averaging essentially at least 9 points a game with great shooting percentages. Roberts shooting 65% from the field, and Walker shooting 49%. So cool thing to see Houston be good again.
Yeah, Elite 8 team from last year. They did have those key returners like Sasser, like you said. So it's always interesting. I mean, pretty much until last year, Houston was never good in our lifetime. So they used to be good back before we were born, or early years of our lives. So it's interesting to see those guys be good again. Purdue, that's another team that stood out to me. That's one of my biggest surprises of the year. How well they played is the main reason for that. I anticipated them being a solid team, but the fact that they're 12-0 and number 1 in the nation, did not see this coming. 3 ranked wins already this year. They beat Gonzaga by 18 and Duke by 19. So 2 of those ranked wins, they absolutely crushed. Wasn't even close. So yeah,
you ever think Zach Edey be this good?
No, I did not. I still am not convinced that he is good.
I know, because I remember having this conversation with you when he first came in about me thinking he was good, and you being like, I just don't think he's good. And it's just funny now. I didn't even think he would be this good though, honestly. Like 22-13. Like I'd never.
That's his numbers right now.
I believe so. I looked it up before the show, but I didn't write it down.
Oh wow, that is definitely a lot better than
22.6 and 13.9 rebounds. That's his stat line right now.
13.9.
Yeah, so essentially 22.5 and 14 rebounds.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you ever think he'd be that good?
No. I get this man's is like 7'3", 7'4", however big he is, but 22 and 14? That is very impressive, and definitely the main reason they are 12-0 right now.
Oh, yeah.
You surround that man's with shooters. I've watched a couple of
Literally.
their games this year. I watched both the Gonzaga and Duke game. They got shooters everywhere. You got a force down low that you can't even necessarily double because he's so tall that he's a decent enough passer. I like skill wise, I don't think he's a good passer, but like he's so dang tall that he just reaches over his defender and throws it right back
Literally.
out. So like it's so easy for him to just kick it back out to his shooters.
And he
And
and
yeah, it's gonna be
he's
good.
been he's had enough endurance this year to play. He's played almost 32 minutes a
That
game.
too.
So for him, that's been a big thing. Their second leading scorer is scoring 12.7. So essentially he's scoring 10 more points per game than their second leading scorer. So like you said,
Yeah.
just a bunch of shooters that can play some defense around him.
He's definitely the guy that gets them going, that's for sure. The other main surprise for me would be UConn. I honestly have zero idea about UConn basketball. I had no idea that they were even going to be good. I couldn't even name you a single player on their roster. So the fact that I'm looking at the rankings here and they're second in the country and 13-0, that is definitely a surprising start to me. We'll see what this team is made of, though. Their next 3 games are against the other top Big East teams in order. They play Villanova, Xavier, and Providence. So if they're able to get through that gauntlet of the Big East there and go 16-0, I mean, this team will be as legit as any other, in my opinion.
I agree. They've looked good. Big step up this year from Sonogo. Like he was good last year, but 18.6 per game has just been absolutely balling this year. And shooting 61% from the field. Man can't miss.
That's
It's
crazy.
crazy. Crazy. It's cool to see UConn good again for me personally, just because also
I
Sonogo only
agree.
1.8 turnovers per game as well. So ball handling all the time, not turning the ball over. But yeah, it just reminds me of the Kemba Walker days, right? That's what comes back to my head.
Yeah.
Is just Calhoun and that whole situation. So shout out to them. It's good. It's good to see them be good again. Another Big East team we can talk about that's not good, surprisingly. I don't even want to say it. You can say
That's
it.
your
I don't
squad.
even want to
That's
say
your
it.
squad. Villanova. Damn, it's almost like I told you that they were gonna suck without your man's Jay Wright. And what's happening? 7-5?
7-5. Yeah.
I will admit though, Spinny, they did start the season 2-5, so that means they're on a 5-game win streak. So maybe they're starting to figure it out now.
I don't know, man. It's
Have
you
you
don't
been
love
able
it.
to catch any of their games really, or like I'm just
Yeah,
interested in knowing why they've been losing. I haven't watched a single Nova game, so I don't necessarily know.
yeah. I watched the Tribute Classic game against Boston College. They played they played Michigan State early. They played Oregon. Just a couple. Just it's just a scoring situation for them. Losses 64 against Temple, 68-64. Couldn't close that one. 73-71 against Michigan State. Again, really close. Couldn't close. Iowa State lost to 81-79. That was that. Portland scored 83 on them. You seeing a theme yet? Oregon 74-67. Essentially, the only game other than Portland was a 1 point loss. But it's just they are balanced. They're a balanced team, but other than Caleb Daniels, nobody's scoring on that level like they have needed before, and the defense isn't as great as it has been in future. Um, I still have faith in Kyle Neptune because I don't think that Nova is at the talent this year that they normally are, but Jay Wright would have been better with this team at that talent level. So obviously there is a little bit of a downgrade. Again, he's coached 12 games, so I'm not going to count him out yet. But
Right.
hopefully the recruiting base, he can get the talent back like we've seen before with National Player of the Year contention caliber players.
And the thing with Villanova is a lot of those guys that you say national player of the year type guys are your Josh Harts, your Jalen Brunson, guys that weren't even rated inside the top 50 in their grade. So this
Yeah,
is very doable for Villanova to turn it around. They just need to target guys that fit their system and play
yep.
well in that regard.
they've had success too with the New York high school basketball team previously, Arago, Jalen Brunson. But even, yeah, like you said, Bridges and DiVincenzo and all those future NBA guys on those teams were not really highly recruited players, at least most of them.
Yeah, exactly. Another team, I'm going to actually jump back to surprise very quickly. Arizona, I did not think they would continue to be a good basketball team. They lost their best three players from last year to the NBA and Down Terry, Christian Coloco, and obviously Benedict Mathurin. So I'm a little surprised that they're still ranked in top 10 and killing it in that regard. And they've already beat two ranked teams, including one of the teams that are in the top 10 right now, and that is Tennessee. They beat Indiana and Tennessee this year. So that was a little surprising to me.
Yeah, they have definitely surprised me. I did not think they were going to be good at all this year, honestly. Another surprise for me was Texas. Marcus Carr, Rat, Snake, Marcus Carr.
He's balling.
Yeah, shooting. They have, and it's not just him. They have 4 guys on their team averaging at least 10 points per game while shooting at least 44% from the field. So lots of scoring available there in Texas. That's what they've been doing the best at this season. Carr scoring 15, Hunter's 12, Rice 10, and Allen 10. Allen shooting 50% from the field, Rice 48, Hunter 45, Carr 44. All these guys except Allen, but the 3 guards are all at least 34% from 3 as well. So
Dylan Mitchell. Dylan Mitchell wasn't in that mix for double-digit scoring.
No, Dylan Mitchell 7.8, 5.4 rebounds, shooting 62% from the field, but not in that.
Dang, that actually really surprised me because that was their top recruit coming in, and I thought Marcus Carr paired with him, that would be a deadly duo. But that's a little surprising to me to see that he isn't even in their top 4 in scoring. He was the 4th overall recruit in his group, really behind Derek Whitehead. And 2 of those guys went to Duke, which does lead me into my next disappointment.
Boss, before we make that transition, can you just make that point again? You cut out a little bit on us. So I thought that was a good point you were making about Texas.
What was my point about Texas that you wanted me to repeat? The fact just the fact that they were
that
Dylan Mitchell
was the 4th ranked recruit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 4th ranked recruit is great. I mean, 6'7" small forward. So yeah, it's a little surprising to me that he's not even scoring 10 a game. That's a little surprising, but
crazy.
Play as a team. I mean, if you win, that's all that matters.
Now we can talk about the Rats.
I wanted to let me throw in a quote: disappointment, because I'm not actually disappointed that Duke sucks right now. I'm not disappointed that UNC sucks.
I'm actually happy that Duke sucks right now, mostly.
I'm actually happy they both suck. The only other team that I am disappointed in is Kentucky. So there's 3 blue bloods. Only 1 blue blood is good right now, and that's Kansas, being the 4th ranked team in the country. But UNC, Duke, Kentucky all started the season, all preseason top 10. Kentucky was 4th, I believe, to start the season. UNC was 1, and Duke, I think, was 5th or 6th. And now none of those 3 teams are in the top 10. UNC is not even ranked. Duke is 14th. Kentucky's 19th. 9-4 for UNC, 10-3 for Duke, and 8-3 for Kentucky. So it's interesting to see these 3 blue bloods struggle, especially Duke, who had the number 1 and number 2 overall recruits committed to them this year, Derek Lively and Derek Whitehead.
Right. North Carolina losing straight to Iowa State, Bama, Indiana.
That is the thing with UNC, though. They did lose 4 straight games, but those are all like pretty good teams.
And so two of those teams are ranked. 2 of those teams are ranked. The Iowa State loss was kind of like, whoa, but the rest of them, I don't think were too terrible.
Right. It is still interesting to see, though, a team that has that many returners, including all of their key players, and they're all vets, too. It's not like they're all It's not like the best players are freshmen and sophomores. They're all seniors pretty much. So it's interesting to see a team like that struggle early in the season, but they're probably going to figure it out. Like you said, 2 of those losses were to ranked teams. So that you can't
Yeah,
really hold that against them.
and they're just not quite on the shooting percentages of other team right now. Love 42%, RJ Davis 42%. So 2 of their 3 top guys are not on their game shooting the ball. I mean, you can't say that about Baycott. He's still 56% for the field on 18 points and 11.1 rebounds. So they still have 3 guys scoring 16 a game. RJ Davis 15.9, Baycott 18.2, Love 18.3. So still have 3 huge scorers. It's just not making it happen.
One last thing I do want to bring up, Spinny, about college basketball. That's the Minnesota Gophers. Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very disappointing start for the Gophers to start this season. 5-6. We're not even 500. We're last. We're dead last in the Big Ten right now.
We beat Chicago State today.
oh,
by
so
3. By
so
3.
By 3?
By 3. 58 to 55.
Chicago
3-12
State.
Chicago State.
Wait, no, you did not just say 3-12.
Oh yeah, they are 3-12. So they were 3-11 going in because we are now 6-6. 3-11. Chicago State.
That's all I'm doing. I just put my head down. I don't even have words for the Gophers. We're barely even being a team with 3 wins. Like, and to make it worse, it's not a Power 5 team with 3 wins. It's Chicago State.
Yeah.
To defend the Gophers a teeny bit, their best player, Jameson Battle, has missed 4 games this year. So that obviously sucks. But, I mean, percentage-wise, he ain't doing nothing right now. He's shooting 34% from the field. 34% in 7 games. I mean, you're not going to win games if your best player is only shooting 34%.
No.
Like,
and we're beating Chicago State by 3 and California Baptist by 1 and Central Michigan by 8. So it's just like it's just not there this year.
it's not. It's definitely a rebuild for, man, I'm drawing a blank out his name. Coach Ben Johnson. Kind of expected. No one necessarily expected them to be good, but definitely expect them to be better than this.
But last in the Big Ten. Last in the Big Ten.
I think there was 2 other schools I saw that were also 0-2 in the conference, but yeah, we have the worst overall record, so that's how we're last.
Yeah.
But still, pathetic. Well, Spinny, you ready to switch gears here and wrap up the episode with some NFL talk?
Let's do it.
This week, rather than talking preview or post view or anything like that, we're going to focus on predicting the playoff seeds. 3 weeks left. Obviously, this is the stretch right here where teams live or die, and we'll see some teams squeak into the playoffs and other teams barely miss it. So let's just start with the AFC, huh? Right now we have in order: Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, Titans, Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins. To me, and I know you're not going to like this, Spinny, I have the same order for the first 3. I have Bills, Chiefs, Bengals.
So you think the Bills are winning out?
I have the Bills winning out. I have the Chiefs winning out. I have the Bengals losing to the Bills, and that would be their only loss.
Because the Bills have to win out, because the Chiefs are winning out. So that I feel pretty guaranteed about. Chiefs play Seahawks this weekend. That's probably their hardest game. Then Broncos, Raiders, the next 2. So pretty confident in Chiefs winning out. So my question for you is: you're confident in the Bills winning out?
It's going to come down. I'm confident in winning this game against the Bears and the last game of the season against the Patriots. This 2 seed or this situation here, how these top 3 teams finish, is all going to come down to Week 17 matchup. Yeah. Bills at Bengals. Right now, I have the Bills pulling that game out. That's why I have the Bills winning out, being the 1 seed. But if the Bengals were to win that game, the Bengals will then jump to the 2. Chiefs would be the 1, and Bills would fall to 3. So that's how that would play out. That's how you have it, right?
Yeah, I have Chiefs, Bengals, Bills. I just think given Josh Allen's consistency the last month, we're not going to get 3 good Josh Allen games. And with the Bills offense the way that it is with no running game, if you have one bad Josh Allen game, you're probably going to lose it. So that's where I'm at with Buffalo. And if they lose one, I definitely think it's going to be to Big Balls Burrow and the Bengals on the road. So I don't know. I have confidence in Joey B in that game.
This is, I mean, that's the matchup that I went back and forth on about 500 times. I literally even have, I have, I literally have W written down for the Bengals against the Bills, and then it's like crossed over with an L, and it's crossed over again with a W, and then crossed over one more time with an L. That's how many times I went back for this game. I could not decide. But that's how I have it playing out. Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, 1, 2, 3. How about this 4 spot? It's obviously going to the AFC South winner here. I actually have the Jags ended up winning this division. It's crazy to say I did not have them preseason as a playoff team. I did say they would make that next step though, as to becoming a playoff team. Did not envision it being this year. I have them finishing the season 8-9, and that is a tie with the Titans, but that would be 2 wins over the Titans, so that's obvious tiebreaker there. And Jags getting in for me.
In the words of the Fox Sports analyst, the prince that was promised is back. Trevor Lawrence has been balling. 14 touchdowns and 1 pick in the last 5 games. I don't know. I think what I've been preaching has been true, and I think it was more about Urban's dysfunction than it was about Lawrence. The end of this year, real quarterback coach, you're starting to see like what everyone saw the whole time. I have the Jags as well. I think with Tannehill likely done for the year, I don't trust whoever is it. It's probably Malik, right? And that's
Malik.
That's we've seen his ability to lead an offense at this point. No shot to him. I think he could be good. I genuinely do, but he's definitely not ready to be good yet. And the Jags and Titans play in Week 17, and I think the Jags are going to win out actually and take that division crown as well.
Yeah. So I mean, looking at Titans remains Titans, Cowboys, Jets. I have them going 2 in these games with the win being the Texans, but they could easily lose this week to the Texans. So that's going to be interesting to see if they are able to win that game. I think they're going to choke. I don't see the Texans only winning 1 game this year. I think they're going to get 1 more, and this would be the 1 game the Texans get. So that's not going to shock me there. But I actually do think the Jags are going to lose tonight to the Jets, but then finish the season with 2 wins, and that's going to get them in at 8-9. Okay, now the wild card. Right now, it's Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins. Spinny, do you have any changes to this? For me, it finished the same. I have Ravens, Chargers, Dolphins, 5, 6, 7.
That's what I have as well. I think that the Chargers are going to win out. Chargers have Colts at the Rams, Broncos at home. So I just think Colts and Broncos at home should be 2 easy wins against worst coach in the NFL, Jeff Saturday. And Rams on the road, that's still in LA, right? And I trust them to win that game. That puts them at 11-6. I think the Ravens will win 2 of their last 3. That would give them a better division record than the Chargers, putting them at the 5. And then Miami. Miami's got a hard schedule-ish left, and it includes both 7-7 teams in their division. So they need to win a couple of games. Jets, they at least get the Patriots in Miami, but Jets in Week 18 is at the Jets, and they have the Packers this week, who, if they lose, are essentially eliminated. So I see the Dolphins losing at least 1, maybe 2 of those games. Looking at a 10-7, 9-6 type of finish, getting them in at the 7 there.
Yeah, I have them losing to the Patriots in Week 17, beating the Jets in Week 18. But I agree with you. I think they're going to drop one of those division games for sure. And I think they're going to beat the Packers, though. I do. I think that's going to be.
I hope so.
I think that's going to be a pretty high-scoring game with the Packers not able to keep up completely with the high-scoring offense, high-powered offense, I should say, of the Dolphins. I did actually also have the Chargers choking to the Broncos. I did not like what I saw from them in their first game against Broncos at all. They only won by 3 in overtime, and this is in Denver. So I just think they're going to choke. I don't know if they're going to necessarily win 3 straight to finish the season, but either way, they're in, and they're the 6th seed for me, and I think that's going to stay the same. The only thing out of these 3 wildcard teams I think could maybe change, and this is a stretch given how well they've been playing, but if the Chiefs or if the Bengals lose 1 game, and it's to the Ravens, and the Ravens win out, both teams are 12-5. That means the Ravens are the division winner because they beat the Bengals twice this year. So that's the only thing that could switch is that the Ravens could win the division. I could see that happening, but I do think that's a little bit of a stretch.
I just worry about Lamar, right? They play the Falcons this week, so I'm confident with
Lamar.
Tyler Huntley. I'm confident with Tyler Huntley. Is that right? I'm confident with Tyler Huntley against the Falcons, but I need Lamar back for New Year's Day against the Steelers, or I think they could potentially even lose that game as well. And if they lose that one and then they're losing to the Bengals as well, I mean, obviously a 1-2 puts them at 10-7, and the Chargers might pass them up. But I hope Lamar can be healthy by that Steelers game, and if that is the case, I'm confident.
Yeah, there are some rumors that he could be back this week, so that's definitely something to follow.
He was ruled out. He was just ruled out.
Oh, today he was already ruled out?
Sunday, yeah.
Okay, interesting. I did not see that.
Yeah. The Ravens ruled out Jackson for Saturday's game against the Falcons 20 minutes ago.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, you would think that should be a win against the Falcons, but I think they could honestly easily drop that game too.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how the Ravens finish their season with an injured Lamar. Let's jump to NFC now, though, Spinny. In order, Eagles, Vikings, 49ers, Tampa Bay, Cowboys, Giants, Washington Commanders. Right away, this immediately stands out to me because there's 4 NFC East teams in right now. I think there's no chance that happens. I got the Commanders out. I do essentially, though. Yeah, it is. I have the same exact order. Other than I have the Seahawks making it in as the 7th seed over the Commanders. Otherwise, I do have Eagles, Vikings, Niners, Bucks, Cowboys, Giants.
Yep. I am going that order as well. Obviously, Minnesota at the 2 over San Francisco is one of the lesser confident picks that I have. San Francisco is already 5-0 in their division, so as long as they finish out Week 18 against the Cardinals, they'll get that complete sweep of their division. Vikings obviously lost to the Lions already, so the tiebreaker would go to San Francisco. Minnesota has the Giants, at the Packers, at the Bears. So I'm essentially hoping for a win-out situation going on there, because if they lose one...
So you have both teams winning out, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. I do have both teams winning out. I think there's a chance the Niners could lose to the Raiders, but that's at San Francisco, and I'm just worried about the Raiders' ability to score against the great San Fran D. So... yeah, I have both teams winning out. Vikings sneaking in by 1, but I think if the Vikings drop a game, San Francisco will have them, which is huge. Obviously, playing that second round at San Francisco instead of at Minnesota for Vikings fans would be not good. My difference is I have Dallas at 5, the Giants at 6. My number 7 team is the Detroit MFing Lions. I think these boys are going to win out. I think they're going to end up 10-7, and that would put them at what?
9 straight wins?
9 straight wins. Last loss day before Halloween against the Dolphins. Last loss with the Lions. I take that back.
Crazy.
No, they lost to the Bills. It's not 9 straight. They've only won 3 straight. They lost to the Bills on Thanksgiving. But it is 8 of their last 9. 8 of their last 9 by the Lions. So I think it's impressive. I think they're going to win out. Panthers at home. Is it at the Bears? No. Bears at the Panthers. Bears at home at Green Bay.
At Green Bay. Yeah.
But again, if Green Bay is eliminated by that point, I think you're seeing Jordan Love against the Lions, which I think could still potentially be a win for Detroit.
Yeah, I agree with that logic. I just honestly do question if they are going to play Jordan Love. So in my eyes, that's the L I gave the Lions was the last week against the Packers. I do think there is something, and a little emphasis teams put that are eliminated on potentially messing up other teams. I do think that's a thing in the NFL, and especially if you're playing a division opponent, I think you're going to want to give them your best shot and kick them out of the playoffs, right? I feel like you're not going to want to see the Lions go in. If you're the Packers, if you let the Lions beat you, they're going to be in. So it's
Yeah.
like, so I kind of see it from that side as well. So that was the loss I had the Lions taking. I do have the Chiefs obviously beating the Seahawks this week, but then Seahawks bouncing back and winning their last two games. Both those teams finished 9-8. Seahawks obviously beat the Lions this year. That's why the Seahawks are in as the 7 for me. And going back to the Vikings 49ers situation, I actually think both teams are going to go 2-1, believe it or not. Even with how stinking well the 49ers are playing right now, I don't think they're going to go 6-0 with Brock Purdy as their quarterback.
That's fair. That's a
I
fair
just
point.
don't see it happening. So, like you said, it would be the Raiders game, right? You don't really anticipate them losing to Commanders this week. You definitely don't anticipate them losing to no Kyler Murray Cardinals in Week 18. So yeah, my L I guess would be against the Raiders. At least that is in Las Vegas, so they have to
Yep.
play on the road. So maybe that's the game that Purdy struggles. You know, he throws a couple turnovers, and the Raiders are able to win in a shootout or something like that.
Yeah, I
So
can
yeah,
definitely see that.
I also have the Eagles. Believe it or not, this obviously doesn't matter to them at all, but I do have them losing 2 of these last 3 games. They only need to win 1 to get the 1 seed. So my thought process behind the Eagles is they're going to lose this week to the Cowboys, or one would assume. Now, I do honestly think they could win. Gardner Minshew, he's good enough to move the ball. They have playmakers everywhere. Their
Their
defense
line
is
is
good.
ridiculous.
Their defensive line and offensive line, both absolutely ridiculous. You got Pro receiver, Pro Bowl back. Dallas Goedert's back this week. I mean, guys everywhere, right? So they could win. I do think Cowboys will win. I think the Eagles will beat the Saints because Jalen Hurts will be back, and I am anticipating him being back against the Saints. So I think get the win and secure the 1 seed. And then once that 1 seed secured, I think they lose the last week to the Giants because they rest their starters.
All right.
Which
I think that's fair.
That's what you would assume. But if I was the Eagles, I don't think I would rest my starters in that last week. I really don't.
Why?
Because you're already getting the bye, right? And we've already seen teams in playoffs struggle coming off the bye. We've seen top 2 seeds lose right away because they had that extra week. Sometimes that throws teams off their rhythm, right? Are you going to really have all of your starters sit out an additional week so your guys aren't playing for even longer? That might even throw off the rhythm and what they got going even more. So I don't know. I personally wouldn't, but I think they're going to.
I could
But if
see
I was
that.
the coach, I'd at least make them play a half or something.
I think anyone that has no health issues might play the first half, and then anyone that has remotely any type of like nagging injuries will obviously sit.
Right. So like maybe it'll be like I just said, Hurts coming back for the Saints game, getting that W. He then sits to rest his shoulder a little bit. But your guys like Miles Sanders and AJ Brown, they still play some of the game.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, okay. It is hard to balance between having that bye and having to wait 2 weeks, and obviously wanting to keep your guys healthy. It's kind of quite a balance there.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. You had the Vikings winning out, so never mind. That eliminated my last question. So, Spinny, you have anything else?
Vikings will probably lose at Chicago in Week 18. I just feel
that was going to be my question to you: is because I have them losing one of these division games, but I literally put a question mark because I could not decide which one we were going to lose.
I'm going to say it's going to be the Bears game because of the tickets that I have for the Vikings game at Lambeau, and I want to see a win more than anything in that stadium. So I'm gonna take that for my own personal bias sake, but I still think that The Vikings love losing at Soldier Field, so
Love it. And now with
love it.
Justin Fields balling out the way it has been this year, he could absolutely torch us on the ground.
Oh
So that
yeah.
is a little concerning. Well, Spinny, if you don't have any other final thoughts about how this seeding is going to look in a couple of weeks here, we'll wrap up the episode and get our listeners
Yeah.
on their way.
I think I have a Q&A for you though. I was going to
Awesome.
pop
Let's
it
hear
during trivia today, but it's kind of a trivia type question. For those of you listening, pause it, see if you can get it before I let you know. What former Vikings head coach played in both the NFL and the NBA?
What? You're kidding me.
No.
You said head coach?
Yep.
Man, I can't even. I don't know, I guess, because the only coaches that come to mind are like your old white dudes. like like Zimmer and Bud Grant and those type of guys. Who is it?
It's Bud Grant.
It is Bud Grant?
Bud Grant played for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he
What?
played 2 seasons for the Minneapolis Lakers, 96 career games played, averaged 2.6 points per game, shooting 31% for the field.
Wait,
What?
so does he have a ring too?
49 and 50 were the 2 years he played there. So I'm not
Oh, so
sure.
probably not then.
I'm not
If he has
sure.
if he has a losing record, probably not.
I didn't. What? He doesn't have a losing record.
I thought you said he. What did you just say about 49 and 50?
Those are the 2 years he played.
Oh, see, I thought
1949 and 1950.
I thought you were
Yes. He has 2 actually, 1949 and 1950.
Both
They
of
won
them?
the NBA championship. Yes. So
What?
2 NBA championships for Bud Grant.
This man Bud Grant is an NBA champion?
He is an NBA champion.
What?
Yes, sir.
That is
And
absolutely
also-
insane.
Yeah, Bud Grant. He played for the Philadelphia Eagles in 1951 and 1952. Played 24 total games at defensive end.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean,
He also played in the Canadian Football League as well.
NFL champ. Yeah, I mean, he's an NFL champion. He's 3-time NFC champ, obviously, since we lost all those Super Bowls. 2-time NBA champion, apparently. Wow, that's very impressive. I did not know that about Bud Grant.
Right? I heard that stat from my mother-in-law, actually, and I was like, no flipping way. And so I looked it up. There it was.
From your mother-in-law.
Yeah, Barb
You're
pulled
like,
it out on me, and I
nah,
was like,
Barb,
cat. I was
you're-
like, that's cat,
yeah,
Barb.
Cap.
I was like, merch. She merched it. So, Bud Grant,
Oh,
NBA champion.
That's funny. That's incredible. I'm gonna have to ask my dad that. I'm sure he knows that, but I'm gonna have to test his knowledge
Right.
and
See if you
he
can
actually
stump
knew that.
him. That'd be
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well, Hardies and Hardos, that's all we got for you for episode 38. We will see y'all next week, and have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, happy holidays, y'all. Hug your friends and family. We love you.
We love y'all.